Hey guys, this is Lindelo again, Africa 55 YouTube channel. Welcome. We're still under a theme called Own Your Story. We have a very big person, someone that I look up to, who has owned her story and is proudly sharing it with us. Her name is Buyiswa Ntsadu. She is the mother of four. She is a survivor. She is a single parent, and she is actually sharing with us how to be a woman and owning your story even under the pandemic that we live under at the moment. So please watch the story. I hope you will learn something and subscribe, and please view the story. You can share the story. We hope that the story will motivate a lot of women to share their stories, but mostly owning their stories. Um, Thank you guys. Okay, today we have a discussion with Sis Buyiswa Ntsadu, the counselor and the GBV activist. Welcome to Africa 55, the wave of change, Sis Buyiswa Ntsadu.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you so much. So we are so honored to have you as our guest today on the channel, and our topic is about being a woman. We are going to talk about the good and the bad of being a woman. Basically, we are going to talk about the dynamics of being ukuba ngumfazi, basically, if I can put it in Xhosa. So the first question that I have for you is, how is it being a woman according to you? Because we can't paint all women with one brush. The reason why we decided to get into this topic of like telling each and talking to each and every woman about being a woman, because we want these stories, we want your experiences, we want your perception. So we would like to know from you, how is it being a woman in general? What can you say about being a woman?
Okay, thank you very much. I would say in a positive note, being a woman, like especially in South Africa, is that we have more freedom that we had as we grown up in years ago. Because now as women we can do a lot of things for ourselves, like you can go to work that you were not allowed to do as a woman, and you can study whatever you want as a woman, and also you don't have that privileges anymore. You can pick to be a mom at home if you want to, or you can be a mom and go to work at some time and come back and teach your kids to be a woman and what you've learned out there.
Okay. Um, Picking from what you just said now, I like the fact that we are actually able to do more things than one. We can choose. I like the word to use, like to choose, because we can choose to be a house mother or a housewife. You don't have to be one. If you want to do both, you can do both. If
Yes,
you wanna do one of those, then you can do one of those.
yes, that's correct.
Thank you so much. um Currently, I actually agree with you in that. There's a so you what you're saying in a nutshell is, at least there is a freedom.
Yes, there is, because then women didn't have a lot of
So
freedom.
when we compare the era, like before these times, it was much better. I mean, it's much better now because we have the freedom to do whatever we want to do.
Yes, we
Okay,
do.
that's good. I just wanted to kind of like make sure that I got you. Okay. Thank you so much, Buyiswa. I like the way you were just straight to the point. So, like currently, as you can see, it's 2020, and we are actually living in times that are very uncertain, like with the pandemic that is going on currently. We just cannot ignore the fact that these are tough times, and these are tough times to everybody. But talking about women again, who look after kids at home, women who sometimes work, um, what I'm trying to find out from women in general, what experiences do you actually encounter at this time? What challenges do you face? um, these are very unprecedented times, obviously. So we can't say we have the freedom now. It's like now you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So what I'm trying to imagine is what each and every woman like trying, what do we do as a woman to try to live, to try to survive in these times? You understand?
Okay.
And I like the fact that you mentioned looking after kids, you mentioned working. Like economically, we are suffering. Everybody is suffering economically or financially, if I may put it that way. So if you are a single woman who looks after your kids and who works as well, so how do you try to adjust to these times?
Since we in this difficult time right now, as a single woman, this is what I observed because as a single mom, but I have teenagers, so what I observe from most of the single parents that has young children, it's not easy to leave your kids because now you need to rearrange your whole life. You need, because you can't take your child to crash anymore, so now you need to kind of find somebody to look after your child.
Yes.
And now the expenses are getting more because now you have to pay that person
Yes.
to look after your child.
Yes.
And that person maybe is going to tell you how many days is that person available. Not everybody is available on a
Yeah.
certain day.
Yeah.
And also what is more difficult is there's no family support at the same situation. Because sometimes other people, it's very difficult to pay somebody. When you can't pay somebody, then you're gonna reach for your family.
Yes.
And then you find out there's no family support, and now you need to find ways and means
Yeah.
to go like outside to friends and explain to them, since I won't be able to pay you the amount you're actually expecting, so can we like sit down and come to a minimum that I actually can pay you.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes down to. It's either you pay the person with the money,
Yeah.
or it's either you're gonna say, okay, can I maybe give you something that you don't have at home.
Yes.
So basically, it's all about the what do you compromise.
Okay.
So a single woman, it's never easy, but a single woman, you always have to think of what do I do? What is my next plan?
Yeah.
Because every day when you go to bed, the next thing that you think about, what am I going to do tomorrow that's going to make me and my kids a better place or to survive? Or what can I do tomorrow that's going to help my neighbor? Because that's another way you kind of help your neighbor
Yes.
when you ask for help,
Yeah.
when there is no family support. So
Yeah.
that's what I think about it.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. So basically now we I just so basically what I got from that is now we need to be more, there's something that is called ubuntu. As much as it's challenging times and it's really really challenging to everybody, it's challenging,
Yes, it is.
especially in terms of finances, especially in terms of like the virus is spreading like fire, if I may put it that way. So families, these times they actually kind of break families in a way, because now people they kind of like look out for themselves. You do get where I'm coming from?
That's
But
true.
you emphasizing the fact that let's be more, let's bring out our humanity even more, let's bring out a kindness, so that you, and also we must be willing to compromise.
Yes.
You mustn't always want.
Yeah.
I must be able to say, okay, I've got this, so what can I get from you, then we can exchange with what I have. You understand?
Yeah.
And also secondly, what I got from your answer is think out of your toes. Like let's always make sure that we have a plan. As much as it's difficult, let's not give into the situation, because the situation, it actually kind of like forces you to give up sometimes in life, and like, okay, now there's nothing I can do. I tried one, two, three. So let's keep on bringing out plans, but mostly let's try to reach out to people and work as a community.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much. But what can you say to single women? Because I was I was checking stats the other day, but it stats from 2018, and I discovered that the percentage where it's still like women, mothers only who look after children is still high. In 2018, it was 43%. So I don't know now, but I'm sure it's up. So what can you say to those mothers who actually look after those kids alone, those mothers who have no family support, as you just mentioned, a mother right now who is in a certain area where there is no electricity, there is no water, or if there is water, it's far, but she has three children that she has to look after, and there's this corona time, there's social distancing, there's this, and there's job losses and all that. So what can you say to that mother? What can you to like try to make them like think on their toes, try to encourage them to actually be hopeful in their situation?
Okay. Um, my message to the single mothers in that situation would be, I know it's a difficult time, and I know this is where you really need your family, but they're never there. But regardless that your family is not there, it's not that you're actually alone. You got neighbors. Go to your neighbors, especially when you know, I don't have water, I need to go far for water, but I don't want to leave my um, toddlers alone at
Unattended,
home.
yeah.
At least just if you go to your neighbor, just tell your neighbor, okay, can you just look after them maybe for 2 or 3 minutes? It depends how long you're going to be gone, because you need to go and fetch water.
Yeah.
If that is not that you can actually do, go to your neighbor and say, can I ask your child maybe to help me out? Because it's always a better time when you ask for help.
Yes.
Nobody's going to know if you need help if you sit at
Yes.
home
Okay.
and close the doors and windows. Nobody's going to know what happened. It's the same thing as if there's no work, there's no income, and maybe if you did work but you don't know where to go, if you have to go for your money and stuff like that, the UIF money, ask for help, because there are people out there that will give you directions to
Out.
where to go.
Yes.
What are the easiest ways
Yeah.
to apply for it instead of sitting at home.
Yes.
That's the only message that I have for all the women out there.
Okay.
Instead of being indoors and say nobody's gonna help me. I know when you knock in a couple of 3 or 4 doors, everybody's gonna say no, 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 but there is gonna be that one person that's gonna be say, okay, I can help you.
Okay. So basically, reach out, reach out. Nobody's gonna know you are in need if you keep quiet, stay at home. And what you just said, it actually now takes us to the next question, which is the bigger question. You have a very touching story, and there's a lot of women in South Africa that have very touching stories as well. Some women, they have the guts to talk about their stories, and some they choose to keep quiet. And when you keep quiet, it actually, whatever you close, you actually just shut it down. It kills you, because it doesn't mean just because it kills you inside, but it doesn't mean just because you are keeping quiet that thing did not happen. You know what I mean? So I like what you just said now, saying we must reach out. Yes, you maybe, in order for you to get help, you will need to reach out to 5 people, and the fifth one is the only one that's going to be able to give you a breakthrough. You understand? But keep on reaching out. You must have hope in human beings, that even if the world is what it is, so reaching out, it's gonna help you in anyhow. You understand? Because sometimes we are so embarrassed, we are so shameful, we are ashamed. We don't wanna be like begging and be, but it's not gonna help. Whether it's with your story, whether it's with your with the situation, or with which you just spoken about now, where we need to help each other as a community. Thank you so much for answering that question. All right. You have a very touching story, Sis Buyiswa, and as this is the second time we met, and you kind of like gave me a bit of your intro on your into your story, and I was watching you telling this story, and I'm sorry to say, but I love the way you own your story. So when you tell it, there is a sense of pride in you. Like it's more like you have embraced it, you have accepted it, and you know that that story, it's part of you, it's part of your journey in this life. So, can you tell our YouTube viewers your story? And I know it's a very touching, sad one, but if you can just, if you want to, in any case, to tell us about your story, and maybe someone somewhere will actually get something from it, and they'll be able to open up as well, because I believe when we reach out, when we talk about stuff, that's when we heal. That's why we have this program called Ukubangu Mfazi. We basically encourage talking about our issues, because when we talk, especially about hurting stuff that actually hurt our emotions, when we talk, we heal. Basically, we open that gate, we open those wounds, and then when you talk, there is a fresh air that comes, even if you don't get help in terms of like getting physical help. But when you talk out your problems, definitely there's a difference, there's change that happens to you inside, you understand.
Yes, I do.
So, the floor is yours again to tell us about your story.
Okay, thank you very much, Lindelwa. Yeah, my story goes like this. When I was like, I'm like a three-time rape survivor. The reason I'm calling myself a survivor, not a victim. You're gonna hear through the story why. When I was like at the age of 6, I wasn't staying in Cape Town then. I was staying in Heidelberg with my mom and my stepfather and a stepbrother. So at that time, I was around 6. I was like having like chicken pox, and then I couldn't go to school. So my mom needed to go to work, and my stepdad already left, and now I needed somebody that's going to look after me. And there was only one person, and the one person was like my stepbrother. And for me, I trusted him because he's an adult to look after me. But unfortunately for the trusting part, that's when like my whole life actually changed. Then I was raped by my stepbrother. He basically gave me instructions what was going to happen, and I even threatened me not to tell my mother. And now as a 6-year-old, there's like, she's my mom and he's his dad. So to keep my mom safe and not get my mom killed, so for me it was like, okay, this is gonna be my secret and his secret at the same time.
Yes.
So then he raped me. But when my mom got back, he made sure penetration happened, he bathed me, he made sure that there's no evidence. So now as a child, when like your mom comes in, you like, you want to go to your mom and give your mom a hug. In my situation, I couldn't because I have chicken pox, so I stayed in bed. And but I had that expression like, I wish my mom could have seen that something had happened, but my mom wasn't such an observant person. And
Sorry, yeah, I just wanna talk about something. This is the first part of it. I'm sorry to kind of like intervene, but because we are talking together, I just wanna go back to what you said in the beginning, that you need to reach out and leave those kids with a neighbor.
yeah,
So for me, like, even now, there is this thing that is happening, which is old people that rape kids. Do you get where I'm coming
yeah,
from? So even now, in this difficult time, you as a woman, because I'm sure your mother went to work and trusting the brother, so it makes it even more difficult, because these things, they happen even now. It makes it even more difficult to trust the neighbor. Do you get
that's
where
true.
I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Because kids, they are very like trusting people, and once they trust a person, they will be fine. But now the perpetrators, which is men in this case, they take advantage of that trust.
That's true. That's
They
actually
take
true what
yeah.
you're saying.
So I just wanted to say that, because you said in the beginning you need, as you we need to reach out. So it makes it difficult if you are a single woman, you have 3 children, and you need to reach out and leave these kids with these people. So it's a very tricky situation. Okay, you can carry on.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna get back to that point.
Okay.
Let me just finish this.
Okay.
So when after the rape, I didn't actually tell my mom. So for me, I kind of developed this part of, okay, this happened, I'm not telling my mom because I don't want to lose my mother. If she dies, who I'm gonna be with when I'm very young? So I put it all at the back of my head and continue life as a child. Then couple of years later, when we moved to Cape Town, my mom was working as a domestic worker in Mitchells Plain. So I used to walk to my mom's work. And so I love shortcuts because I hate going all around to go to where I'm going. So at this specific day, I had to go cross this bush. I would walk through it to get to the outside of the road so I can go walk to where I was going. Not even knowing that there was somebody actually watching me for days as I was like walking the same road. Like when I was in the middle of the bush and then I just heard this person who has a knife against my neck that says I mustn't scream. All I had to do, I had to lie down, take down my panties, and I was like very quiet and very shocked. But I was like, let me just do what the person wants me to do. And I just lie down. That was like my second rape that happened. And very after that, then he just, when he's done, I just like stand up, pull up my panty, and I walk to my mom's work. When I get there, the first thing that I wanted is to want to go to the toilet. Nobody knew what I was gonna go there. I just went in, I locked the door, and I took the toilet paper and I stopped like wiping myself. And I was like,
And how old were you at this time?
I was like 10 years old at that time
Okay.
when
So
that
there's
happened.
4 years in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started wiping myself, and I have all these questions, why is this happening to me, but not realizing that I think at that time for me it wasn't like a sense of it's rape, but I was like just trying to understand why this is happening to me. Then I was
So
like,
even then, you did not understand what
what
it
it
was that
was.
was happening
Yeah,
to you.
and it didn't go back to what has actually happened to me the first time, because I was just asking myself questions, why is this happening to me, did I do something wrong, and but I still am not gonna tell anyone. And still I didn't tell my mom. And even when I went back home, I basically went the same road home but didn't do the shortcut thing, and was watching which people are walking in the road so I can like kind of follow them to go home. I remember when I
So that
got
you don't
home.
get to be alone again on the road, and this
Yeah.
person comes again and do
Yeah,
this
to get the
thing.
same thing
Yeah.
again. And when I got home, I remember telling one of my like two of my friends that, you know what, when I was like walking and then this guy come up and this happened, and they just started laughing at me.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, I was wondering what was so funny because I'm trying to find a joke about it. And then I was like, you know what, let me just go home. When I got home, I took a bath and I was like, okay, it happens, everybody finds it a joke, maybe it's not something serious. So why should I take it serious? Then I was like, okay, forget about it. It's not happening. Oh, it didn't happen. So you didn't tell your
So just
mom.
shut it.
You're not gonna tell your brother. So just shut everything down.
Yeah.
And go on with life.
Yeah.
So for me, that was life
Yeah.
as a teenager.
Yes.
Then I think a couple of years, like 2 years later, because before I was 16, then the third attempt happened.
That was before you were 16.
Yeah, before I was 16, then the third time happened. I had my boyfriend, and he used to come and visit me. Like, he was studying and I was studying, so he used to come and visit, and then we would stand in the corner like chatting, and then I would go home and then he would go home. But on this specific day, he was like, can you please accompany me to my place? But I didn't know why was this accompanying all about. They were like, no, we're not gonna stay for long. Just gonna accompany me, and then you're gonna go home. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And my mom never had a problem with me leaving, like going to chat with somebody. Then when I got to his place, and then another person came in, and then I was like, I know this person. And when I saw the person, like, this is like my ex-boyfriend. The reason why I break up with him because he was like a gangster, and I was like very young. I'm like, that was not for me. It's not in my future.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to figure out what was like happening. Like I didn't like ask what's happening because I didn't want to ask. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what's actually happening here. And I could see them talking. And then the next thing was I got told, you're not gonna make a noise. Um, you're gonna do everything that I'm saying, and nothing's gonna happen. And then I'm like, okay. Then I'm
So,
like,
so sorry. Did they have any weapon at this time around?
there was no weapons at all.
Okay.
I was just given instructions.
Okay.
No screaming,
And it was two
no
against
lights,
one,
and it was two
obviously.
against one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm gonna wait for the instructions. And the instructions came like, you need to undress yourself. And that's when I'm trying, okay, now something is definitely wrong here. But now there's this instruction that says no screaming. Because if you scream and somebody came in, they're going to ask you what were you doing here, and you're the only old lady that's here. And then I was like, okay. And then the next night, like, okay, let me just do whatever I've been told what's going to happen. And then that's when my third rape actually. And then after my ex-boyfriend started, and I thought, okay, I don't know what's happening.
Sorry. Just a question. Because this is like consecutively happening, but in a space of 3 or 4 years. So what happens in your mind now? Because now you are a bit like older, and as you mentioned that boyfriend, that means now you kind of like understood the even if you are not engaging in sexual intercourse at that time, but you kind of understand, like when somebody is your boyfriend, that means that person is your friend, but it's a friend that is a boy. So again, there is trust. You say
Yes.
this guy said let's go to my place.
Yes.
Obviously there is trust.
There's trust
You
because you
understand?
trust this person.
You trust this person, and then this person now they actually just become something else.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to imagine is what's happening in your mind now that you are given these instructions. And go back to the second one, is was there any power? Obviously that guy overpowered you. Was it a tall person, like the person that you met who was coming out of the bushes? Was it a tall person, or was it just a guy like
He's like, he wasn't tall, he was like short, but just a little bit taller than me because
Yeah.
I'm like short.
Yeah. So he
he
overpowered
he
you.
overpowered. It's all about power.
Yes, definitely.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing with my third.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at it, I have no power. And they are two.
Yes.
So I have to do whatever I'm being
Whatever you're
told.
being
And I've been
instructed.
told that if you scream, people are going to hear, but they're going to blame you. What were you doing here?
So there was emotion. There was like
There
kind of
was
like
the
blackmail
blackmail at the
now.
same
So
time.
there was no threat.
No. It's like they're blackmailing me.
So the first
at
and
the same
second there
time.
was a threat.
Yeah.
And then this one
Now
it was like
there's
a
like
blackmail,
blackmail.
because you know them.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I was like, and now when like my boyfriend is like, I'm like, okay, this is like, yes, it's sex, but now it's sex with two people. But now I think basically my mind just went to, but what's happening is not supposed to be happening. There is no way one person can have sex with two people at the same time.
Yeah.
This is very unusual. And where I grew up, like I grew up in a colored community.
Yes.
Where you've been told the stuff. But we were not like told like when somebody does something like that, it's like rape. They just told it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But then as it kept on happening, I could feel my mind was like, I'm kind of like gonna have like a blackout.
Okay.
And now I'm like, praying, please God, let me not have a blackout, because
Yes.
I don't know what might happen if I have a blackout.
Yes.
Maybe then they might kill me.
Yeah.
Because when you have a blackout, your body's gonna be giving in. They're gonna
Yes.
think I'm dead.
Yes.
And they might be thinking something else.
Yes.
And then I'm like trying to think something positive, like, can this just happen and get over so I can go home?
Yeah.
Until I later find out it happened like for like hours, and then when I found out the time, it's about like 2 a.m. and I'm like,
From
I want
what
to go
time?
home. Like from 9, and I'm like, I want to go home.
Gosh.
And I was told, you're not gonna go home, you're gonna go home the next morning. And I'm like, okay. Then my ex left, and it was like me and him, and he was like, come and sleep. I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit on a chair, I'm just fine where I am, because I don't want you to touch me, I don't want you to talk to me, I just leave me alone. And when I saw it was like bright outside, I'm like, I want to leave. And it's like, okay, let me accompany him. Like, no, I can find my way home. And he was like insisting. And I think in his way he was trying to apologize and say he was threatened by my ex. If it wasn't gonna do that, my ex was gonna hurt him and all of that. I'm like, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to know. You should have warned me.
Yes.
Because you knew what was going to
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to tell my mom.
Yeah.
Even my mom didn't ask me the next day, where were you? Where did you sleep? My mom wasn't that type of person. Then I was like, I got home, I took a bath, I prepared myself to go to school, and I'm like, forget about it.
So so sorry to again to to cut you sort of. I just wanna, like, what I'm picking up is your mom was not very observant.
No, my mom wasn't that type of person.
And are you the firstborn?
I'm the baby.
The baby, the
Yeah,
last born.
I'm the
Which
last
makes
born.
it even more, but it differs in any case.
Yeah.
It differs. So it goes back to again the very first question of single mothers. The sometimes you will think you are observant of your kids, only to find out you are not.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah, that's what
so
I also learned.
I can imagine that at this point there's some sort of anger, because even if like in you, even if you are not questioned, I mean, even if you don't want to talk about it, as a child you do want to be asked, are you fine?
Yeah, or where were you? Where did you sleep?
Those
And
kind
stuff
of
like
things.
that.
Yeah. So it's more like you were taking care of yourself.
Yes, that's
And-
how I think that's how my mom basically trained me as I was growing up, even as a 6 year as a young child. Like, you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because she always used to tell me, one day I'm not gonna be there. Who's gonna take care of you?
Yeah. You need to learn to
You need to learn
look after
and
yourself.
look after yourself. I think even when she went to work and I was like with my older brother, that's the way I was taking care of myself.
Yes.
And I didn't like bother, because I was like, I used to live on a farm, so I know how farm life is.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm used to all of this. So, but then at the same time, what she didn't know, I even became very good in keeping stuff
Yes.
to myself.
Yes. So
And-
so as much as